Hi Cancer, welcome to your mid-October 2018 tarot update. It's Raina here. So I'm using the Wild Unknown tarot deck. Okay. So this is a slightly different spread than I typically use. I just like to change things up now and then, including my cards and my spreads, but it's basically the same. The heart of the matter is the Father of Pentacles in reverse. So this would be some kind of, especially a male, older male, a male in a position of authority. This could be your partner. This person, if this is a boss, a position of authority, then this person looks at you as what you can do for them in terms of how much money you can make for them. In other words, this person is very materialistic, greedy. Maybe they're not paying you what you're worth, and that is bothering you. This could be a father who is, maybe this has to do with a will, and the father did not give you money or did not give you what you were expecting to get. Or somehow, even like if it's the father of your child and they are not stepping up to the plate financially in some way. Now, if this was the Knight of Pentacles in reverse, I think it would be more of an issue of like financial irresponsibility because of the immaturity of the person. In this case, the person may be financially stable, but they're just incredibly greedy. And this may be the kind of person who is always judging others based on what they have, and their whole worldview is based on the materialistic side of life. And so I was the sign Capricorn came into my mind. I've gotten to the point now where I just say what pops into my mind, because I figure there might be, maybe somebody's trying to tell me something to tell to you, instead of thinking it's just my own thoughts. And because I laughed when I said that, because actually out of all the three earth signs, I would peg Taurus as more of the materialistic one than Virgo or Capricorn. But with Capricorn, and this is your opposite sign, Cancer, so you may have a strong connection with the Capricorn. You may even be married to one. But with Capricorn, there is that sense of wanting to better oneself in order to fulfill a sense of purpose, but when it goes too far, it can veer into that tricky area of, keeping up with the Joneses and all that kind of thing. So I can see how maybe there are wayward Capricorns who, take it too far. Excuse me, I'm going to plug in my power cord here. Okay. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, so this could be like trying to get money from child support or something like that and feeling frustrated, who knows, something, or a wayward boss. The challenge here is represented by the Daughter of Swords, which is the Page of Swords. And this is a card that is interesting in the reversed position, because the Page of Swords in the upright position is a card of vigilance, okay? So, in other words, we are aware of our surroundings. We are in tune with what is happening to us and around us. We're not like living in a bubble or living under a rock or just oblivious. And so that is a good thing to be. It's even, sometimes the Page of Swords can indicate that somebody is trying to research, or like, let's say you had an issue with a will and you're trying to ferret out information. I call it the spy card when it's in the upright position. When it's in the reversed position, and I'm reading this as a challenge position, it can be paranoia. It can be somebody who is extremely touchy. Sometimes Cancer people can fall into this category of you having to walk on eggshells, and you know, anytime, whether this is you or whether this is the King of Pentacles that's doing this, that's insecurity, and that's within the person. They're projecting it outward. They're projecting it towards others, but it's really because of their own issues. And, you know, that isn't anything revelatory. I mean, you probably realize that that's why people are like that. So if you are the Daughter of Swords and the King of, it's funny, we're using this family terminology, the Father of Pentacles, Daughter of Swords. What's interesting about this is that this may be the dynamic between you and the Father of Pentacles. Maybe it is like this psychodrama of that's kind of triggering, that's being triggered by past memories, like of childhood, where if you had a father who was like the King of Pentacles, the Father of Pentacles in reverse, and was very shallow, into materialism, and shunned the spiritual, the way that he treated you may have kind of informed your worldview, and those wounds that were from that experience may be, you know, like history may be repeating itself. And so that is putting you in that defensive posture. That's what I'm getting at. If the Daughter of Swords is you, then you could be reliving something in your past with this person, because a lot of times, I mean, if this is a boss, this could, you know, a lot of times that is what happens when you have a toxic boss. It can remind you of a relationship with your parent, one of your parents that you may have had like a difficult relationship with. And you can start to react the way you did when you were like 10 years old, because it just feels so familiar. It's like the same shit again. Sorry for the vulgarity, but yeah, I mean, seriously, it's that same feeling, that same behavior. And another possible interpretation is that the Page of Swords in reverse mentality may be what this King of Pentacles in reverse person is that might be the reason for it and what is causing all of these problems. Now, if that's the case, if they have a very shaky sense of self and they're just they're constantly trying to protect themselves from some kind of imaginary attack, there's nothing you can do. I mean, that's the bottom line. If this is the other person, and maybe this is your spouse, and you're married to somebody like this, and it's triggering, they're triggering this within you, or this is why they're like that, is because of their own paranoia. There's nothing that you can do about their reactions and their state of consciousness. And until they are willing to really look at it, I don't like to say, you know, it's impossible, but I don't believe that when people are acting out this severely, that you can just wait and hope that they turn over a new leaf. Because chances are it takes something very dramatic for a person like this to change. They have to want to change, and they have to have reason to change. Sometimes if their partner leaves them, they're forced to deal with it. Sometimes, I don't even know if that's the train or what that is, because sometimes there's like street cleaners. And when it goes by, I feel like it's like right next to me. That's the weird thing about it, and it's not. But, you know, this is something that if this person starts alienating people and they find themselves alone, sometimes they will have to question their actions if they have any kind of self-awareness left. Unfortunately, with the Page of Swords in reverse, if this is not you and this is the other person, they could be very far gone, where their paranoia is almost like this first defense system for themselves. That's kind of like guarding over a deeper trauma. And you will find, if you notice, if you deal with people, that there are people that are like very, very touchy, where you say anything and you're innocent, and they think you're insulting them. And unfortunately, there are some Cancer people who are like this, who are naturally like this, because of what the crab represents. The crab has an outer shell that's very hard. And sometimes people don't realize how hypersensitive certain Cancer people are until they get to know them better and they're dealing with them on a more intimate level, because the first level could be just that hard exterior that seems oblivious to everything, and then you get to know them better and they start to let their guard down, and you find out that they're actually sensitive about most everything. This is not all Cancer people. Every sign has a shadow, and I do mention the shadow in case this is what the Page of Swords is representing, because that can hold you back. There's nothing to protect. There's nothing that can destroy you from the outside. Your worst enemy are your negative thoughts. Swords represent thought. It's what you tell yourself. So if you find that you are like terrified of another person's criticism, ridicule, what have you, you have to realize that the more that you are immune to those things, and the immunity doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt at all. It just means that you don't go into a frenzy over it, even on the inside. That you don't have that kind of visceral reaction. You might just like observe it and say, wow, I didn't like what that person said, but you don't take it to heart. Okay, and that's the main thing. You don't get into a tizzy. The past situation informing the present situation. This is the Six of Swords. So, the Six of Swords, it's funny that I wonder if this particular artist always depicts the number 6 with a rainbow. Then actually the number 6 connects to the planet Venus. So there's a sense of harmony associated with the number 6. And the Six of Swords is, you know, choosing peace, and it relates to relocation. So it's like you're leaving a situation that is full of drama, for instance. Swords can relate to drama. But it's interesting that sword, and conflict is connected to the swords. So that's why I said drama. But it's interesting that swords connect to the air signs like Gemini, Aquarius, and Libra. And what's interesting about the swords is that the element of air and the swords connect with communication, including thought. So that's even like how you communicate to yourself. Now, if you combine the swords with the number 6, it's also, to me, about getting away mentally. It doesn't have to be just on the physical level of these ideas that create stress and conflict within yourself. And, why do you do that? Well, you do that because you're seeking peace. But this can be like actual physical relocation. So it may be a situation where you have been trying to distance yourself from this Father of Pentacles in reverse. And maybe it's like even when you physically leave, you're still connected to this person. If you have a child with this person, you certainly are still going to be connected even if you move away. But you might have thought that a geographical cure was going to solve all your problems and now have found out that it hasn't happened. It can simply be that that's been on the table for you, this desire to move. Oh gosh, I don't want to bend this card here. And now my power cord has come off. Okay, there we go. So this is the influences around you, the Mother of Cups. Interesting. So we have the Father of Pentacles and Mother of Cups. This is actually a card associated with Cancer, I believe, because it's the Queen of Cups. You know what's funny? It looks like there are little, I know those are not crabs, but boy do they look like it to me. What would you say those are? Bursts of some kind of, what could they be that are colors like that? But anyway, little sparkles. Orbs? I don't know. The Mother of Cups is a very psychic energy. And it can be that you are just, maybe you have left an environment that was unsatisfactory and now you are in a much more spiritual place. If this is a place of employment, it could be in the healing arts, the psychic realm. The Queen of Cups, the Mother of Cups, is a very psychic card. It is, I do believe it is connected to Cancer, and it is a very kind-hearted, empathic, mature woman. So it's a consummate mother energy. And you may have this around, maybe you're visiting your birth mother. Or, I don't have to say birth mother, your mother. And gaining comfort from her. If you're like visiting your family and you're dealing with your dad and he's the King of Pentacles in reverse and he's like somebody that is toxic for you, it could be that your mother is very nurturing. And so you have that kind of contrast, that balance in a way, because you get to come home, but you don't have to just be poisoned. So that's nice if that's what is happening for you. Now, the other thing too is that if you have a child with somebody and you're having some kind of problems, whether it's with child support or getting child care, and the father of the child is supposed to chip in for that or actually watch the child or something like that and isn't keeping up with his end of the bargain, you may be asking your mother to take care of your child or some other type of nurturing woman And that could be what's happening. And maybe even in the workplace. This could be like moving from the type of job that's associated with a bank or investment, something along those lines, and going or in a retail environment and going into some kind of more of a spiritual profession. And there's a stark contrast in these two energies. The advice is represented by the Mother of Pentacles in reverse. Another mother. Another mother. Okay, so the Mother of Pentacles in reverse as advice. Oh my goodness. The Mother of Pentacles in reverse is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I mean, I can't imagine advice to become like her, because this is like the female version of the King of Pentacles. This is what we would call a gold digger. Unfortunately, when you think of gold digger, you probably think of a woman, don't you? You don't think of a man being a gold digger. Men can be gold diggers, you know. It's just that in our society, men have tended to earn more money, and so it would naturally be the case that you would have a woman wanting money from a man. So, the one thing that I can say about this in terms of advice is about learning from other people's mistakes. If there, you know, if there is anything to do with a will, this could be your stepmother that is trying to take the money from the estate. That could definitely be what's happening. And she's a very greedy person, and she wants it all. Even though, and she may have children, because it's the Mother of Pentacles in reverse. So she may have children with your father, but it was like a second marriage. And there may be something where they are cutting you out of it, or, you know, whatever. And in terms of advice, because this situation is something that is familiar to me, and what I think is, I can't tell other people what to do, because there are so many different scenarios, even within the one broad situation. But if your father had a will, and he left most of it to his second wife, my feeling, and his children with her, my feeling is let him have it, because that was his desire. Now, I know that some people will vehemently disagree with me, and that's fine, because as I said, I don't tell people what to do. When I say let him have it, it's not directing you to listen to me. But my feeling is that in my particular case, I felt like it was a matter of ethics, morality. You know, I felt like there were other mitigating circumstances. And then I finally realized that, you know, maybe there were, maybe there weren't. Maybe I'm going against the will of somebody who, pardon the pun when I say will, but somebody who had these desires. And you know what? Maybe the fight within me is the hurt that comes along with feeling that you have been somehow diminished by a situation like that. But you know, a lot of times people are in various states of illusion when they do what they do, and we have to forgive them for it, and we have to like kind of rise above it, because none of us have a price, right? And a material price. The Father of Pentacles in reverse could be somebody that got lost a long time ago, and they literally have no idea what to do about a certain situation in their life. Maybe it's their romantic life. They really are lost, and sometimes, especially if they're an earth sign, it may be very natural for them to do something that relates to tangible goods. So trying to control money is a big thing. I did a series of videos on different narcissists according to their element. And for the earth signs, I was talking about using money to manipulate. And this is something that I feel is very common for earth signs, because sometimes when they get lost, because they have been so earthbound, it's very difficult for them to see things philosophically or sophisticatedly. And so they like fall back on the one thing they can control, which are the purse strings. So, you know, whatever. You could be dealing with someone who is, and who knows, maybe this is your actual mother. Maybe the Mother of Cups is a woman who you have turned to as a surrogate mother because your own mother, maybe both of your parents are very controlling around the issue of money. And for Cancer, money is an emotional kind of a desire or a need. It's like that emotional security. I don't think that Cancer as a sign is all that materialistic in terms of wanting to buy outer, you know, things to show that you are successful. I think that you just feel, you breathe more easily if you have a nice fat bank account. So don't allow other people to influence you to that degree and to get you to lower yourself, is basically what I'm saying. And, you know, also, there could be, like, if you have left a certain job for a more enlightened type of a position, somebody may come and they may try to lure you back. And especially during this Venus retrograde, where, you know, Venus can be about money and like our values and like what is more important. Is money the ultimate thing that we should look at, or should we look at our ethics and our life purpose? So you may get some kind of temptation that comes to you, and for a moment you may be like the Mother of Pentacles in reverse, where you're like, wow, you know, should I do this? But the outcome is the Fool, and it's like you're embarking on a whole new field, a whole new thing. And I think, didn't I get the Fool card? I don't know if it was the love reading I just did for you. I did another reading for the mid-month for another sign, and it really went along with the love reading. So I don't know if I had gotten that card for you recently, but the Fool card is like pressing the reset button on your life and starting from scratch. And maybe, you know, maybe the Father of Pentacles, maybe this is a divorce case, and maybe you're fighting over a child and a custody battle. What the Fool is about is that you're, you know, when you go into your new life, and of course you're coming off of a solar eclipse in your sign, you're poised to have the North Node in your sign. So this is a very important period for you, Cancer, that is coming up for the next 18 months. And things may come into your reality that appear to be random, but they are really part of your destiny, according to what the transing North Node is all about. And it's important to be open to new experiences. That's kind of the message of the Fool card, is to embrace the new, to not have emotional baggage, not live in the past. You know, Cancer can live in the past. You're natural historians, but sometimes you have to completely make the choice, the conscious choice, that you're not going to dwell on the past. And, you know, you guys can be very sentimental, and you can just see all the good times that you had. Maybe that, you know, with a person that you worked for. Maybe there were good times. Maybe greed slowly crept into the mix, but at first everything was hunky-dory. And same with your spouse. Maybe in the beginning there were so many wonderful qualities that eventually were eroded because of negative traits creeping in. And so anyway, this is like a rebirth for you of sorts, although this is not the Judgment card, but it's, you know, this is the 0 point. This is absolutely a blank slate, and you can write your own history, or whatever you want to call it. You can create your reality from scratch. So take the opportunity to do that. Okay, that's what I have for you, Cancer. I didn't expect to go on for 31 minutes though, but you know, sometimes that happens. If you'd like a private reading, there's the link to my website below. I'm at rainandmoonastrology.com. Have a blessed rest of October. Bye.